Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Forrest. Today's class is going to be a beginner's class that's kind of tailored towards individuals who might spend a lot of time sitting at a desk. In general, it's just a good sequence to get the body moving in all sorts of different ways. So we're going to take this to the mat with lots of props today, so it's meant to be a supportive practice for you to kind of wake up the body from being stagnant or, bringing it out of stillness. A couple blocks might come in handy, a blanket, bolster, or things that resemble that you might find throughout your house. And when you have your props ready and you're ready for your practice, we're going to start out on handstand. I'm just kidding. Don't turn me off quite yet. We're going to use the chair and some other things to help support us, maybe a blanket for support if your chair is quite hard like mine, made out of metal. I'll show you an alternative way to do this with a bolster and two blocks. So we're making a bridge, or essentially a platform for our legs to be supported on. And so you're going to scoot your hips up pretty close to your chair. And then if you're lucky to have holes in your chair like mine, and you have long legs, you might be able to stick your feet through and just relax like so. You can find a bench or something else if you don't necessarily have a chair like this. The other alternative is to prop yourself up with a bolster and two blocks. Now, if you're situated in that chair already, go ahead and just start to relax and find your breath and your awareness. And for those of you interested in this bolster block combination, you're building yourself up, stacking the two blocks on the highest setting, and then laying that bolster across your fine masonry work. All right, so similar to the chair, you're gonna scoot your hips up kind of close. This time, the backs of the knees will probably come to rest onto the bolster. And you can modify once you're in your posture. Hands can go wherever it's comfortable. Arms can reach overhead. Arms can reach out to the side. And if you want to involve your hands into your breath awareness, you can place your left hand on your chest and right hand on your belly. And start to tune into the breath and whatever posture and variation you're taking. I highly encourage you to maintain your breath awareness throughout your practice, as that's one of the major components of yoga. I remember reading in Yoga Mastering the Basics by Sandra Anderson, one of my favorite teachers, something along the lines of a yoga practice doesn't necessarily exist without breath awareness. It's a key component of your practice. It helps you stay present, helps you calm down the nervous system, and then as you maintain your awareness on your breath, you have little to no room for other things to intrude your mind space. Spend a few more moments here in this inversion with our legs over our chest or above our chest, allowing the blood flow to kind of be changed up a little bit, especially as we're changing, bringing our torso to the floor and elevating the legs, rather, as opposed to sitting in a chair in the reverse variation. Just a couple more breaths here. If it's interesting to you or might feel good, as we start to make our way towards some movement, you might start to add a little bit of movement into your ankles as you point and flex the toes a little bit. And maybe circling out in those ankles. start to bring your knees in towards the chest. You can wrap your arms or grab one kneecap with the right hand, left hand grabs the left kneecap, and add a little rocking here, just side to side, comfortable, gentle motion. Keep in mind throughout this practice as we participate in a variation of postures, the idea is to feel good coming out of your postures. And if you don't feel good, that's a key indicator that you might need to find a better way next time to make that happen, make that come to fruition. So set your blocks and everything off to the side. We'll come back to those props later. And then go ahead and lay back onto your spine, fully extended through the body. Go ahead and hook your thumbs and bring your legs onto the floor fully extended, point through the toes. And right now we can lift up that belly towards the ceiling, maybe let the ribs lift, and you can have a little bit of a back bend while you're laying down here. Keep reaching, finding length in your body, reaching through the toes and fingers, but also you can find that lift in the ribs. Start to release the thumbs. You can bring your arms bent 90-degree angles, and then go ahead and start to bend your knees, walk your heels back, and you're going to adjust and bring your ankles underneath the knees. Now, we're going to move dynamically with the breath, so make sure you have space side to side, letting your knees rock from left to right. So you can bring your feet about hips width distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. It helps with the twisting here. And as you exhale, let your knees come off to the left. You can take your eyes over towards the right to get a little twist in the neck. Inhale back to the center. And then exhale, knees go off to the right side, eyes towards the left. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, knees to the left, eyes to the right. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, knees to the right, eyes to the left. Just continue moving like this with your breath. You can find some more length in your rotation. Extending your breath might find, or might help you find some more depth in your posture or in your practice. Sometimes when you hear yoga teachers mentioning finding more depth in your posture, it doesn't always mean physically. It doesn't always mean stretch more, stretch harder, stretch better. Oftentimes, that phrase can be used to help you or encourage you to find depth, throughout your focus or greater breath awareness. There's so many different things you can do in yoga. It's a really cool practice. Next time you come back to the center, after you've gotten an even amount on either side, if you've remembered what side you started on, go ahead and start to draw the knees in towards the chest. So one knee in, other knee follows. You can add a little rocking here side to side again. Just massaging that low back and sacrum. And now start to bring your feet to the floor. We're going to walk your feet out, so preventing any low back pain or any sort of pinching there. Interlace your hands behind the head. And it's like you're just laying out, watching those clouds go by, where you're going to start to kind of move yourself over to the right end of your mat. And then start to walk your feet over towards the left. And then you can lift your head and chest up, and then lean your body, your head and chest over towards the left. So creating a side stretch here. It's a lateral bend for the body. One more breath. Go ahead and lift the head and chest up. Bring it back to a neutral space, and then walk your feet back. And then we are on the right side of our mat, but that's no big deal. Go ahead and extend your arms along. Hook your thumbs. Point through those fingers and toes as you let those ribs lift up again. So finding length and also a little bit of a back bend. Go ahead and start to bring your hands back, interlace behind the head. Kind of flop yourself over to the left side, like a floppy fish. And then once you get to the left side of your mat, you can start to walk your feet over to the right. And then head and chest can lift. And then you can bring your head and chest over towards the right side for a lateral bend. Start to bring your feet back to that neutral space. Head and chest lift. It doesn't matter which you do first. Good. And once you find your body is in line with everything, heels, hips, arms, you can reach your arms overhead, hook the thumbs, point through the fingers and toes, lift up those ribs. And go ahead and start to make your way with the knees into the chest. Start to walk those feet back towards the hips. You can go ahead and bring yourself more towards the center. And we'll go ahead and add a little rocking here, left to right. And then if this feels good in your body, start to find some spinal rocks, massaging all those muscles on the length of the spine. We're gonna make our way onto our hands and knees. So if you want to, you can rock all the way up. You can always come onto your side and walk yourself to that tabletop posture, just like this. So, tabletop posture. Be easy on your wrists. If your wrists are bothering you in this with your weight over top of them, you can make fists to help ease that a little bit. You can place a blanket underneath the hands as well to help reduce some of that intensity, soften the ground a little bit, and it really helps to place your heels of the palms onto the blanket and then fingertips onto the floor. That might help. But once we are in our tabletop posture, painless and stable, with the hips over the knees, shoulders over the wrist, we'll start to add some movement here. So cat-cows. Inhale, lift the head and chest up. Belly drops, pelvis tilts forward. Exhale, start to round your spine, press the ground away from you, chin to the chest. Inhale into your cat posture. Exhale into the cow. I always get those confused. I just confused them right there. This is the cat. Inhale into your cow. Exhale into your cat. I should know these very well since I used to have a cat that anytime you kind of snuck up on her or just really were living your life normally and she saw you, she often would get startled and do the classic rounding of the spine into her cat pose. She was a fantastic yogi, I guess. Inhale into your cow. Exhale into that rounded spine. 2 more. Inhale, find that back bend. Exhale around the spine, chin to the chest. Inhale for the last cow pose. Exhale into the last cat pose. Got him right that time, nailed it. All right. Inhale back to neutral spine. From here, you're going to bring your left knee more towards the center of the mat for stability. Go ahead and reach your right leg long, tuck the toes, and just press the ground away. We'll engage the core here, draw the belly in towards your spine, and then strong through your right glute as you extend through the right leg. I'll start to activate the right glute as you allow your right heel to lift with that glute activation. And you start to find a back bend here. As you lift that leg up, start to look forward, and you can find as much lift in that leg as you want to. Next, exhale, you're going to start to round the spine, chin to the chest, bend your right knee and draw the knee into the chest. Maybe you headbutt yourself with your knee. I recommend not to do it very hard or at all. And extend that leg long, squeeze the glute, lift that heel, lift the head and eyes up. Exhale, Round the spine, chin to the chest, draw your knee into the chest. Inhale to extend. We're going to do 2 more. If you want to add on the left arm into this action, go ahead. We'll exhale. If you're doing the left arm, left elbow meets the right knee. 1 more here. Inhale, extend the body, leg, maybe the arm. Exhale, left elbow meets the right knee. Inhale, left hand comes down, right knee comes down. Replace the left knee with the right knee, and go ahead and extend the left leg long. Start to just press through the crown, engage the core as you draw your belly in towards your spine, and extend through that left leg. Start to squeeze that left glute and the left heel. We'll lift as you do, and you start to bring your eyes up, finding a little bit of a back bend here. Next exhale, left knee into the chest. Start to round the spine, press the ground away, chin towards the knee. Again, lightly touching the forehead to the knee. Hopefully not any harder than a light touch. But that's your call, your yoga practice. Inhale, lift, and look forward. Exhale, left knee in towards the chest for 2. Inhale to reach. And exhale, bring it in. Last 2 here, so if you want to add on the right arm to reach, looking up through those fingers. Exhale, draw the elbow in to meet the left knee, underneath the body, go ahead. Inhale, reach the right arm, left arm for the last one. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, right hand down, and left knee comes to the floor. Go ahead and bring your knees to a neutral space underneath the hips, and we'll take a few cat and cows there. Inhaling, head and chest lift. Exhale around the spine. Inhale into your back bend. Exhale, round it into that cat posture. Inhale back to neutral spine. Exhale, start to walk your hands forward, hand knees back a little bit. And we're coming onto our bellies here. So, from our bellies, you can come onto your forearms here. At first, we're going to do a little spinal strengthening. So, we're going to incorporate something called locust pose to do so. So, you're going to bring your hands by your sides, by your hips. Start with your forehead or your chin to the floor. Bring your feet pretty close together. And go ahead and engage the glutes as you lift the head and chest up and lift the legs up. Reach your arms back here. We're just going to hold this for up to 30 seconds. Keep squeezing the glutes to lift the heels up and also engage those spinal erector muscles, the ones that help you lift and find extension through your spine. 15 seconds, little to go. Last 10. 3, 2, and 1. Bring your forearms to the floor. Bring your feet nice and wide. And let your forehead rest onto your forearms here for a little crocodile as we allow our muscles to come back towards a neutral space. Next, we're going to make our way. You can press yourself up to that tabletop posture. And then you can bring your right foot forward. We're going to work into a lunge here. So I highly recommend you using something for support here, whether it be blocks or your chair. I'm going to use your chair, or use my chair, not yours. Use my chair for the sake of this, since most of you probably have a chair, whether it's at your desk or somewhere really close to you. So I'm going to take this into a lunge. You can bring your right foot to the outside of your chair. Hands can come onto the chair seat or the back of the chair, depending on what's best for you. And what I want, or the intent of this posture, the reason for this posture is to help engage our left glutes and then also open our left hip flexor a little bit. So, and on top of that, find some spinal length, which is great. So lots going on in this posture. Right foot a little wide, start to squeeze the glutes, drive your hips forward, and you can find a back bend here if you want to. You can press your hands onto the top of the chair or the seat of the chair. And we're gonna spend some time here. Keep squeezing that left glute, but not, redlining it to the maximum effort, but just enough to help find a drive forward with the hips and make this a little bit more active than passive. Our hip flexors absolutely take a toll from sitting. They're shortened through that action, through sitting, and can cause some issues because of it. This helps lengthen and remedy some of that sitting by stretching actively. Engaging that left glute helps activate, or rather release the hip flexors, and ultimately finding some more space for you to move and be a little bit more free. And slowly start to maybe come to sit onto the shins or maybe back to that tabletop posture. Just a moment to essentially get out of the pose, out of the lunge. Okay, we're gonna take it to the other side. So go ahead and step your left foot nice and wide, or rather to the outside edge of your mat. You can use a chair this time. I'm going to, for demonstration purposes, show you what this looks like using the seat of the chair. So as you get into it, start to squeeze that right glute to help drive the hips forward. Adjust your chair or props however you need to. Remember, the idea is to find some length here, find some stretching and opening into the right hip flexor by actively engaging the right glute. Something happens called reciprocal inhibition. Some fancy science, but it's basically when you engage one side of the body, the opposite side of the body has potential to soften a little bit. That can happen with your triceps, biceps, quads, hamstrings, essentially opposite muscles of one another. Keep maintaining that focus on the breath. We'll be here just for a little bit longer. If you forgot about that active right glutes, go ahead and invite it back to the party. And we'll go ahead and start to make your way back to tabletop posture, sitting on the shins, really your choice of counter pose. Just a few moments here, just to relax after that posture. Now we're going to come to stand at the top or near the top of your mat, something called mountain pose. You can keep your chair nearby, as it might come in handy. But mountain pose, whether you knew it or not, standing is yoga. All right, so mountain pose is a standing posture where you just stand up straight, and that's all there is to it. Oftentimes I hear people say they're too inflexible to do yoga, and I'm like, well, look at this, mountain pose, boom, you're doing it. So no excuses. Mountain pose, shoulders over the hips, hips over the knees. Let's take a moment here, standing up straight, an active standing up straight posture. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Chin is neutral. Just take one more inhale here, a big deep breath. And then exhale through the nose or the mouth. You're gonna inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, soft bend in your knees, and you're gonna let your hands come down to the floor. Good. Very, very generous bend in those knees. If you need that chair for support, it's right there. to help you out with this forward fold. Remember, like I said earlier, the idea is to come out of these postures feeling better or feeling good, not necessarily bad. So standing forward fold can be rather intense on the hamstrings and low back. Please support yourself with something. Just like the hip flexors, the hamstrings, the backs of the thighs can also be affected by sitting. As you bend the knee, your hamstrings shorten. And so that's what happens when you're sitting. That's what accumulates the stiffness and tightness over time. Good thing is, you can combat that with a consistent practice and with persistence and routine. Very generous bend in those knees as you drop your hips down a little bit, and we're going to come to stand again. And we're going to take this chair and come into a supported hip hinge, forward fold essentially, but with the idea or the intent to also open up into our chest and our shoulders some. So you can use a couch to, this is one of my favorite stretches just to do throughout my day, just find a random thing and put my hands on that couch or chair and then start to drive the chest towards the floor here. So generous bend in those knees in regard for the hamstrings, and then lengthen the arms here. It's okay if you have those shoulders up towards the ears a little bit for right now. I'm just trying to find some space in the chest, driving the chest towards the mat. Start to lift the chest up, walk yourself forward. Good. And let your arms relax, kind of shake them out a little bit. And we're going to take this into a warrior sequence. It's going to be comprised of a wide leg forward fold and a warrior two on either side. We're going to start with a wide leg forward fold. So you're going to step your feet out about 3 to 4 feet wide. You don't necessarily need a measuring stick if you don't know exactly what that is, but a generous width here. And again, we can support ourselves with blocks or the chair. In fact, highly recommend you to do it. And then we'll start to bend the knees a little bit and then allow our hips to hinge with our chest coming down towards the floor. You can use that shoulder stretch with this. Hamstrings might be so tight to the point where you're feeling enough right here even. If you are feeling really pretty good, you can take this deeper into a more intense wide leg forward fold. Next breath in, start to rise up. Generous bend in those knees, walk your hands up the legs, maybe bring them to the hips. And now your feet are going to stay essentially the same here. You can have a chair to support you if you need to. This is a little bit more strength than stretch. Warrior two. So you're going to point the left toes forward, maybe walk your right foot in a little bit. You want your left heel to be in line with your right arch. Your left knee will be coming over that left ankle, and notice where your knee is. If it's collapsing more in, start to drive that knee out so it's in line with your toes. Draw your belly in towards your spine for a secure spine, and then reach your arms. You can look over that left middle finger. Lots of breath awareness here, especially as it's a strengthening posture. Some muscles that might, scream at you and call for your attention might be the thighs here or the shoulders. And positive self-affirmations really help out with those uncomfortable sensations, as in like, yeah, let's go. We can handle this sensation for just 15 seconds longer. It's not too much longer. We can handle it, and therefore you build skill and endurance, and also learn how to handle adversity. Last 3, 2, and 1. Start to find length in that right leg. Left leg. Point your left toes forward. Bring your chair back to the center, and we're going to take a wide leg forward fold with a twist. For this, I recommend turning the chair around to have the seat facing you. And you want to essentially lean your chest over the chair here. Generous bend in those knees. Place your left hand on the floor or chair. I'm used to saying floor, sorry. Chair, floor, or a block. And then start to open up your chest and shoulders as you stack the shoulders and reach your right arm towards the ceiling. If it's comfortable in your neck, you can always look up towards the hand. And then as you breathe out, start to bring your right hand to the foot or the floor block or the chair. And then we'll take a breath in and then open up the shoulders and reach the left arm. Next breath out, left hand comes towards the chair. We're gonna do that one more time each side. So if you wanna take this a little bit deeper, you can try that out and see how it feels. I'm gonna take this to a block personally. You can place that left hand on the block, open up the shoulders towards the ceiling, right hand reaches. Next breath out, exchanging the hands, right hand to your support, left arm reaches. Next breath out, both hands to your support, and then go ahead and softly bend those knees and make your way to stand. We're going to point the right toes towards the back edge of your mat. Heel toe that left foot in a few steps. And we'll go ahead and get into our warrior two on the other side now. Remember, check in with that right knee this time. Notice where it's at, hopefully in line with the toes, tracking in the direction of the toes. And then you can start to find some length in your spine and then also in the arms. Start to press into that right foot, find length in your right leg. Bring your hands to your hips, and you're going to go ahead and step to the top of the mat. We're going to take this into some warrior threes. So again, might use a block or a chair for this. I'm going to demonstrate with the chair, as these are meant more for strengthening, more for a stretch than focusing on balance today. So if balance is something that you're working on and it might take you out of the strength and stretch, please set that aside. Use something to support you. If your balance is okay and it doesn't interfere with your postures, then you can take this into a more advanced or more skillful variation. Well, we're going to use this chair here for the sake of our warrior threes. And typically, warrior three is done with the back leg and torso in the same line. So this can be warrior three right here. You might start to feel a stretch in your back leg. That's a good sign that things are moving in the right direction. As you can see, stability isn't 100% certain with a chair too, so you still have to be on point. For those of you that want to take this to a more advanced variation, you can start to bring your torso and leg more towards parallel to the floor. This is a more traditional Warrior 3, but it's not the perfect Warrior 3 to strive to. Any variation suffices. And start to make your way back up to stand. Left foot comes to the floor. Take a moment to shake out that right leg as it was working probably pretty hard for you. Okay, next we're going to come into the Warrior 3 again. Right leg on the floor, left leg lifting. This time adding some dynamic movement. Right foot on the floor. And left leg starts to lift. Find your depth in this Warrior 3. And we're going to start to lower the left foot down towards the right heel, or towards the floor really, and start to lift that left leg up. We're going to do this 5 times total. Slowly lower on the breath out. Light touch with the toes and lift. That's 2. And lower. Lift for 3. Lift for 4. And lift for 5. Good. Bring that left foot next to the right. Walk your feet up. I'm sure that right leg is feeling it now. Shake it out. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the still posture onto the left side here. So Warrior 3, using your support, walk your feet back and finding a straight line or is in sync and in line as you can with the back leg and torso as you hinge into that Warrior 3 variation. And start to bring that right foot forward. You step next to the left, walk yourself up, and do a little shaking out of that left leg. Now, taking this to the dynamic movements, use your support, walk your feet back, Warrior 3 again. Left foot on the floor, right leg lifts. Find that straight line, torso leg. Slowly lower the right foot. Light touch and lift. You could totally be doing these like this as well. I want you to be feeling something, some sort of maybe strengthening sensation, if you want to label it that, some sort of amazing sensation, if you want to sugarcoat it. I think that's 3. Slowly lower the toes and lift for 4. Slowly lower, light touch, and lift for 5. And start to walk that right foot in. And then we'll come to stand and shake out that left leg. Good. So now we're going to make our way onto our seat. You can place the props off to the side. They might come in handy. I recommend sitting on something too if that feels nice, maybe a block or bolster, blanket. The chair is even an option too by now. But we're gonna take this into some spinal movement. We're gonna reach the arms up on the breath in, breath out, take a twist towards your right side. Look over the right shoulder, left hand comes to the left thigh or knee. Inhale to reach your arms up as you derotate, and then exhale, twist to the other side. Left hand behind you, right hand to the thigh or knee. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take a twist. One more here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, take your twist. Inhale, reach up. Then exhale, let your hands come down. You can stay where you're at, but I just want to face the camera a little bit better for this next movement. And we're gonna stretch out into our necks. So sometimes it's nice to have something by your side that allows you to grab onto. I like to personally have a block here. Extend my arm out to the side, and then it's about an arm's length distance away. Now there's going to be some engagement here that'll help stretch us out into the neck. So you can totally do this without anything. You just want to be engaged, reaching through those fingers firmly. The block helps with the engagement process. Press the fingers into the block and start to lean your head towards the left. You can add a little movement to your head, maybe forward and backward movement. Just gentle stuff here. Start to let the chin fall towards the chest. And then go ahead and move the block onto the other side, arm extended. Slight engagement there through those fingers, or rather a slight squeeze so you do engage those muscles. And then let your ear come to the left shoulder. Start to add a little bit of movement there if that feels nice. And start to let the chin fall towards the chest. And let your eyes come up to a neutral spot. Go and bring your block or props out from underneath you if you had some. And then make your way onto your back. Once you're on your back, you can pull the knees into the chest. And it's optional here. You might add that side-to-side rocking that you did earlier on, or if you want to get into your hip joints a little bit, you can bring your knees out away from each other and then reverse that action. And let's keep the right knee into the chest as you extend your left leg long. And then guide your right knee over towards the left for a spinal twist. Your right arm can reach out to the side. And for this, just let your shoulders be grounded here, and you don't have to touch the ground with that right knee whatsoever. You can support it with a hand, block, props, you name it. Just be here with your breath. Next breath in, make your way back to the center. Go ahead and extend, or rather, pull the left knee in first, and then extend your right leg long. You can take your left knee over towards the right side for your twist. Left arm can reach. Next breath in, come back to the middle, and start to walk your right foot and walk your right foot to meet your left foot. And then we're going to take a bridge here. Definitely recommend supporting yourself in this bridge as you press into the feet. Let your hips lift, slide a block, anything, pillow, whatever you want underneath your hips to help support you. This gentle back bend helps open up the chest a little bit. It brings some extension to your spine, and then also helps let your pelvis rest softly. You can take this to a more extended version with your hips. You can adjust the block height. Let's press into the floor here. Lift your hips up. Slide that prop from out underneath you. Lower down the length of your spine. Keep your feet, or rather walk your feet out about as wide as your mat. Let your arms reach out wide and softly rock your knees side to side. Knees to the left on the exhale, just like in the beginning of the practice. Inhaling back to the center, and then knees to the right on your exhale. Next breath in, let's come back to the center. And then go ahead and start to walk your legs long. Finding space onto your mat, onto your floor. Propping yourself up. Maybe placing something underneath the knees and your head for support. And once you're comfortable, go ahead and let your eyelids soften. And as you let your eyelids soften, start to take your awareness from the top of the head all the way down to the toes. And just observe where you can soften a little bit more. And once you've taken your body scan, let your awareness come to the breath. Just maintain that awareness for about the next 10 minutes or so. I either recommend staying in Shavasana for at least 10 minutes, if that works with your schedule. And as always, hope you enjoy this practice. Thank you for taking the time to do this video with me. Honor your inner strength in wisdom, peace, and gratitude. Namaste.